In Iran, there are reports of loud explosions in Tehran. Since Saturday, US and Israeli attacks have killed more than 780 people. A number of government buildings have been destroyed. Homes, hospitals and a UNESCO heritage site have all been damaged in the widespread strikes. Tehran has launched multiple strikes on Israel, including in the Tel Aviv area. Iranian missile attacks have also been reported in central Israel. At least 11 people have been killed across the country since the conflict began. Tohid, we are, to start with, hearing of loud explosions there in the Iranian capital. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Well, actually, a few minutes ago, on my right, in the northeastern part of Iranian capital Tehran, we heard a massive sound of explosion. And of course, that is sort of continuation of Israeli and American campaign of strikes targeting different locations here across the capital in the past 5 days now, I can say. And of course, the domain of these destructions is not just limited to the military facilities as well as the political centers, but also civilian infrastructures are being targeted, affected, including schools and hospitals. And yesterday we witnessed actually a funeral for more than 160 students which were killed, who were killed actually in a strike which targeted basically an elementary school in the southern Iran. And according to the latest reports, to give you some statistics from the Red Crescent, we know that more than 153 cities have been targeted. And of course, they're saying yesterday that more than 780 people have lost their lives as a result of these continued strikes. Seeing the continuation of these strikes, we can rest assured that the casualties can be even more than that, and with many more injured. Right now, the situation in the capital is sort of highlighted by a sense of frustration and fear pertaining to these continued escalation, continued strikes that Iranians are facing now on an hourly basis. And of course, a sense of uncertainty when it comes to the future of the country. Politically speaking, right now the country is under control of a council composed of 3 people: Iranian president, Iranian head of judiciary, as well as a member of the guardian council. But all eyes are on a constitutional procedure which is going to pave the way for the appointment of a new supreme leader.
Tohid, let me just add to what you've been saying, because we've just received this important clarification. The Israeli military says it has begun a wave of broad-scale strikes in Tehran. Let me repeat, the Israeli military is saying it's begun a wave of broad-scale strikes in Tehran. Given this is a city that has already been hit by thousands of aerial munitions by both the Israelis and the Americans, what implications does this have on the remaining population there in Tehran, the people who haven't fled?
Well, first of all, for our viewers, we're talking about Tehran province, in which the capital has been located. And in the province, roughly 14 million people are living. So it's not easy and feasible to talk about any moving of the entire population of the province outside it, as some people have no place to go and there is no appropriate shelter for these people who are already living inside the city. We know that a considerable proportion of the Iranian capital have decided to left the city, as the traffic and other things that we witness across the town is quite indicative of that. But still, stakes are really high and people are feeling this risk of continued strikes, seeing the statements that coming from the Israeli side. The government, on the other hand, is saying that it's doing its utmost to make sure that everything is on the right track. But the reality on the ground when it comes to normal life of ordinary citizens is far from that.
And Tohid, the mourning period for the killed Ayatollah, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is underway. At the same time, preparations to find Iran's next Supreme Leader are happening as well. This, as Israel claims to have hit the assembly of experts in Qom, specifically, we presume, to disrupt that process, to choose a new Supreme Leader. Talk us through the implications of that and how resilient that body is in making sure they do go ahead in finding a replacement?
Well, speaking of the process, first and foremost, we know that the Assembly of Experts, or in Persian they call it Majlis-e Khobregan, is responsible for actually appointing the new supreme leader of the country following the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the former supreme leader of the country. And speaking of the process, they are saying that they're trying to do it as fast as possible, even though there is no deadline either announced or according to the constitution. The constitution says as soon as possible, and in the Iranian rhetoric we see the same thing. But still, we know that Israelis are talking about interrupting the process. And of course, we've got this recent report from the city of Qom, as you mentioned, in which they're saying that a building belonging to this body was targeted. The Iranian media outlets, on the other hand, are saying that at the time of attack, this old building of this political important body was empty and no session was being held on the occasion, on the time of those strikes. But still, they're saying that the process is underway with no further details out.